Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight is filmmaker Mike Fox, actress Arianna Fox, and stunt coordinator, stunt coordinator, martial artist, Jonathan. How's it going?
It's like an ordinary coordinator.
Yeah, ordinary coordinator.
No, this man is extraordinary.
Oh, I know.
I kind of like the coordinary. I like that.
Yeah, you should put that for your thing. Yeah, I saw that Ninja Turtle video of yours. But I just got done watching this independent, action thriller film, Sleepers, which you wrote, Mike, and starring Arianna, is Anya. And I have to say, Arianna, you nailed your role as Anya. You played both roles to the T. You can play this innocent girl that was, orphaned, that came from Russia all the way to the United States to stay with this family, who the father is also an FBI agent. So he doesn't really know about you. And I love how you do dual roles. You can play like this, nice Russian girl wants to learn about America and learn what a family's about, and she meets all these great friends, and she wants to learn all this, because she's so used to, being trained like an assassin and, treated really bad, and she doesn't know what love and all that great stuff. So how'd you prepare yourself to do a dual role like that? How to turn it on and off? You go from like a programmed assassin to just a normal innocent girl in high school.
That's a really, really good question. For me, I've always practiced, ever since I was young, I practiced doing a bunch of different personalities and a bunch of different styles and characters that are very far from my normal personality. For another thing, when I was younger, I would do entire productions and entire things where I played like 5 or more characters, and I would just switch that easily between one and another, and I would just, okay, this is character A and character B, and back and forth. And that's something that even as I've kind of grown in acting, thanks to my amazing parents who have helped me immensely with acting, I still have always kept that kind of knowledge of just being able to switch that quickly. But with Anya, with her character, it's actually really, really funny, because part of it, half of her character, that innocent, just normal, bubbly girl, that's more like what I am. But then we have Anya, who is the real her, is intimidating, at least she tries to be, and who is very well trained and has been through a lot. And you said something really good. You said that she's been through a lot too, and that sort of side of her kind of leaks out even when she doesn't want it to. So yeah, usually it's often thanks to my dad as well, who helps a ton with that switch between the two characters.
Also, you were pretty natural with that 9mm, boy. You cocked that and loaded that pretty good, like you were a professional.
That's so funny you mentioned that, because that is one of the main things that my dad, as the director, wanted to see. Was like, he's like, Ari, I want you to make it seem like you can do that, like with your eyes closed in your sleep while you're dreaming. I want you to make it so natural that that's what you're used to. One of my favorite bits of that was actually when Dmitri hands me the gun in the scene with him and Mila, and she's very visibly tense because Mila is being strict with her. And one of my favorite things is how you can see, and how I tried to make it to where Anya, when she's handed the gun, instead of the normal reaction of being handed a gun is becoming tenser, she actually becomes more relaxed when she's handed the gun. And I always loved being able to do that scene, because it's like, this is what's home, this is what she knows. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I remember having her like on the couch, and I'm like, just do it over and over and over again, talking and taking out the magazine and putting it back in there, to where you can do it with your eyes closed, like it's no big deal, You have to have it to where it's no big deal if you're going to be some assassin, It can't be like,
how does this work?
So yeah, you do it over and over and over until you just like, you're tired of doing it, and it's just like with anything, you got repetition, so yeah.
Now let's go to Jonathan. You were the stunt coordinator on this film. So what was it like, to train Arianna and some of the other cast members, especially the part where Anya was in Russia, fighting for her life to see who's going to be the top assassin of the group, like the top alpha. How much intense and training did you do with Arianna for her to perfect that she knew she was like a fighter?
Well, to be honest, I'm going to say that it wasn't really. I want to say it really wasn't intense. It was more on her acting ability, because I think people tend to forget that even though it is fighting, a lot of it is acting. Mm-hmm. Selling the hits, getting hit, doing these exaggerated movements. So a lot of it was really on her behalf. So I give massive credit to Ari for selling everything, and then of course working with the other actors and actresses. Luke, I can't remember his last name. Luke and Emma, same thing. And Evie, working with them, same thing. They were more. It was more of the acting. I provided some techniques and some structure for them to do, but it was really up to them to sell it. And what we did, like Mike mentioned, repetition. With the gun, it was more so. I try to work off of Mike's script to the letter. What he said he wanted in the script is exactly how I was trying to choreograph the fight scenes. So when I got with, like, for example, when we did the initial teaser trailer,
yeah,
thing, I read what Mike wanted, and in my head I'm like trying to figure out, okay, Ari's going to do this, and Evie's going to do that, and my initial sequence was a little complicated, so I had to bring it down a little bit. But either way,
it's only because you had an hour and a half to work with the kids.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah, that was the other part. The time was limited. We had a real limited time. So, but they pulled it off really well. I worked with Ari first. I worked with Ari first, went over her sequences, and then Evie showed up, and then I worked with Evie. And then I had them both together, and they went over it back. I mean, it was nothing but repetition. So, okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. And to the point where I think we did it so much in that short time frame, they could have did it blindfolded. I have nothing but faith in them that they could have did that blindfolded.
Well, it was like
let me throw something in there real quick. So that was on the teaser, but and that was a quick burst of intense, training on how to do it so that I can work it with the camera. That was just on the teaser. But when we got to like actually in Reading, Pennsylvania, and I'll let John get into more details on this because he said a lot of good things before to somebody else. But the intensity magnified probably about 20 times for the training for Ari. For Ari, for Iggy, there was multiple fights. There was the drone shot fight. Mm-hmm. There was the fight with Sasha and Anya. There was the fight with Boris and Anya. There was the fight with Billy, the bully, the chase. Then there was the chase scene with Nadia. So it was like 25 times intensity. And I'll let John get into like how, because he mentioned it really good on that it was the kids, the youth, everybody just kept on going like it was their first fight. So they really gave it their all. But there was actually, it was not all acting. The bruises that you saw on Ari's arm were not fake bruises. They were real bruises because a lot of the fighting was actual fight moves. So when she was blocking, boom, and she was kicking and stuff, those were actual like hits. They weren't like of course, it's combined with the acting because it wasn't like the hardest you can hit. Just like we saw Creed 2 last night. All the Creeds, like you have to combine acting with realistic movements, and you got to get some hits in there. You can't fake every hit with a angle. And so Ari had like a bunch of bruises all over the place because they were real hits. So
yeah, but I've got nothing to say but amazingness for that whole day of training and those whole days. I mean, those were some of the coolest days of my life. I'm gonna be honest. I loved it was hard work in a way where we were doing it the majority of the day. I remember, especially the first day, it was basically training all of the morning, all the afternoon, and all the day, and then in the night we shot those scenes, and we had to redo a couple of them the next day, and you know what, it was hard, but it was worth it. It was fantastic. It's something I would do over and over again without question anytime, because Jonathan was amazing. One of my favorite things, because I know he's never going to give props to himself, I got to do it for him. One of the things that's amazing though that I really loved is the very kinetic and hands-on approach of how he taught the moves, because I learned that way. I learned by doing, not by seeing or hearing, because I'm going to lose all attention the moment you stop talking. But if you're like, all right, do this, hit here, okay, no, you hit this way, this in this style, then I can perfect that and then learn and add on to it. So doing that kind of hands-on, very practical technique was really helpful to make it the fight that it needed to be.
And it was a good opportunity because it's really a collaborative effort when you do on-screen fighting. And I don't even remember the name of it, and I don't want to remember the name of it, but John showed me something else like that he was a part of, and it was actually a budget that I wish I had for Sleepers, and showed me the whole fighting choreography on that thing, and I'm just like, what? And so it's really a collaborative effort between the choreographer and the DP and the director. And so when we were in the Russian, underground, I had 2 DPs, and so I got to direct and just do the directing. So I had 2 DPs. I actually had 2 DPs plus the drone footage, and that was Wallace Diamond Jr., JR, which was separate from the DPs. So we had that, like when it's going around on top, and you see them, going kicking in slow motion, and then, so there was multiple fights going on, but you have to work it with the choreographer, so that way, if this angle doesn't show it right, because you got to have the space to hit. But if you see it, and it doesn't do it right, and then like John said, the acting is not like, oh, okay, that didn't look like you got hit, then you gotta be like on the fly with it all. You can't just like choreograph and say, if you do this and this, it will happen like this, and we'll be fine. It doesn't work like that, But major props to John, because his approach, and we do have, and I do give props to Bill Eisler, who has many years of experience and was giving a lot of the theory, and it's really interesting. It's really amazing. The stuff that he was giving was really amazing. The theory of how to do it, and even the chokehold. We utilize his experience on the choke, on what to do and all that kind of stuff with Luke holding her and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, again, John was involved with like so much of the movie, the aspect of the movie. We had to give him, a trophy, an award, for all his involvement. Back to you. But his approach was expedient, especially for Ari, because it was like, this is the time we have. This is what we need to accomplish. What's the quickest route from point A to point B? And let's do it. And if that doesn't happen, then we got to switch. So, major props to John.
And last thing, I also really do appreciate how flexible he was with with some of these fights, because there were a couple times where, as both the actor knowing my character and also just thinking about things, I'm like, this particular move, you know what? Maybe we can swap it out for something, or I can do it a certain way. And I just really appreciate that flexibility to be able to go off of this amazing choreography that's been had, but also to be like, all right, you know what? Let's change this out for this, and maybe whatever looks best. I mean, the whole point of a movie, in fighting, in acting, in anything, is that it looks good for the camera, and that it is what it is, and it looks good for the viewers and to the director, and that's what matters. So, so for all of us to just see something better and take it and be flexible with it is always appreciated too.
I wanted to add the fight scene between Ari and Emma, or Sasha and Anya. I loved it. I know I brought it up to you guys a couple of times. I know when we was doing the rehearsal, the fact of your personalities. How one is a fighter, one is not a fighter.
Wait, which fight? At the chase scene or at the underground?
The underground.
At the underground. The underground, yes. And like how in reality, like Anya's character, Ari's character, Anya, is really in reality how Emma is as a fighter.
Yeah.
So they were like role reversal, and had to train them the opposite of who they really are. So that was really interesting to do. It was almost like actors who had to learn how to fight. Then you had the fighter who had to learn how to act. And it was I was totally on board with the whole project. I love and I give them kudos for working with me as well. I try to give them moves that I knew they could do, and try to stay on task with what Mike had in his script. I had it in my mind, certain ways of doing stuff, and I know there was a couple times like we had Ari try to do a spinning back fist. It was a little shaky, She did, but it was like it came out more like a dancer. But she pulled it off, and like Mike was saying, with the the angles and working with different camera angles, you can hide that. So he did a good job of hiding that, and they're like, granted, we worked on it a lot, so we can we're looking at it like, okay, that was a little off, but Mike in his editing and how he viewed it, cleaned it up, so that was cool. But I love the fact that they were all in, all the kids, even I can't think of his name, the bully, what's his name, John? Right?
John Schaub. Yeah.
Right. They even his part, who wasn't as physically demanding as Ari's or Luke's, he was still so ecstatic. He was so ready to do the the get beat up. Even though he's a bully, he was ecstatic to get beat up. And he learned a little bit too. So that was also a plus. I mean, man, it was fun. It was so much fun for me.
And even, again, more props to John, because during the chase scene, and then they got to fighting, and then she flips her, on the ground. That was like kind of impromptu for John. I said, look, I have to have her flip her. What is the best? What is the best, safest, but coolest way to have her punch and then flip her and then land like a Black Widow, kind of thing. So again, with the stunt coordinator and the safety and the camera work, it all has to work in harmony to make it look good, And so I think it looks great.
I think so too. Now let's go back to Arianna, her character Anya, how she was learning how to be more human. She was more like a motionless, like cyborg with no personality, or didn't feel for anybody. It's like it's either you survive or you don't. You're either strong or weak. And I love on certain scenes of the film of Anya, how she's learning like human emotions. And I love how you did the different facial expressions where you were like really learning how to learn how to love somebody or help somebody out. I just love the different facial expressions you did for the certain scenes while she was learning how to be human.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed getting to experiment with this character because I feel like she's just it's a very interesting idea. It's somebody who, like you said, doesn't really understand a lot of emotion, who has to think of things. It's either kill or be killed, hurt or be hurt. You know, it's a very dog eat dog, so to speak, kind of world where she comes from, and then learning how to blend in, and times where you wonder, is she being genuine in this certain emotion or is she faking this emotion? Because that was one of my favorite things to do. I think one of my personal favorite times when I did that, I think, was when the parents come and they knock on her door and she's like, I'll be there, and there's like this little smile that's I love that rack focus, it's brilliant. But you know, she's like, I'll be there, but it's like this little smile and goes away within like a second because she's only putting that on. And it's so interesting to experiment with a character who is constantly masking all the time, and yet every now and then there's a little bit of her real self that slips through. And enough times of those little bit of real self slipping through is enough to create some actual real emotions. So, yeah, that was fun.
Mike, how'd you come up with the script to do this? At first, before I was watching it, I thought it was going to be like based like in the 80s during the Cold War, you know, against Russia and America. I thought you were going that way. It kind of reminds me of that TV series, The Americans, you know, where they come. Yeah, at first I thought it was going to be during the 80s and during the Cold War, you know, back in the day where America and Russia, you know, hated each other, but it was just like a slow Cold War period. But I didn't, and the cool thing about the film, it was like more modern day, which I can see happening too.
Yeah, I don't think the hate between America and Russia has subsided much, but you know, in fact, now more than ever, you know, there is that friction and distinction, and it was necessary to bring about the good things about what we have, like here in America. Mm-hmm. So it originated, though, from a nursery rhyme. Actually, go ahead, Art.
Originally it was from a German song that's actually a war song, and it was like from I think World War I or World War II, and I was singing it, and I found the time to sing it in the garage where it was really echoey, and I recorded it, and I was like, hey, listen to this is really cool and echoey, and he's like, and in his brain, the way he works, he is a creative dude by far, and so if he hears something, sees something, instantly gears start to click in his brain. And so once I shared that, he's like, okay, and he started asking me a bunch of different questions about, you know, Germany and Russia, different things. He was like, is there a Russian version of that? And then that led into...
Well, then we were on our daddy-daughter date. We went to Planet Fitness, and we were in the parking lot, and that's when she started to tell me about the lullaby, and that's when, I don't remember how I came across this thing, but I remember hearing it before and not knowing what it was. It's called Tilly Tilly Bomb. And it is the creepiest, most nightmare Russian or German?
Wait, no, it is Russian.
Russian lullaby. And the words are even more creepy and nightmarish. But it is like the most creepiest lullaby you've ever heard in your life. And it's a lullaby. And it's just like, okay, you know, like the words are like, you know, I don't know, wolf is going to come and
they're coming for you.
They're coming for you, you know, and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, you know, just add an echo, and you're just like, you know, and it's just like, and so, but I was listening to this creepy Russian lullaby, and I'm thinking, and my mind is just going 100 miles an hour, and I'm like thinking, Russian lullaby. What if there was a Russian child? And you know, we love Salt, the movie Salt by Angelina Jolie.
Oh yeah, it's a great film.
Salt, Black Widow, the Red Room, Russian, sleeper agents and stuff. And so I started to think, what if there was a Russian youth and stuff that was sent to America to be, activated, and then that's when it all came about. It's supposed to be a film short. Ha ha ha. So, and then, what if she, started to learn that all these things that she was told were lies? America, there's such thing as freedom, love, family, faith, whatever. And
they lie.
They lie. And so, yeah, no, that was great. There's no such things. So, so what if she started to experience these things that she was told that were lies, and now she's face to face with this. Okay, well, I'm experiencing family, love, friendship, faith, freedom, and that was another additional scene that I got to bring in with, a family that we know we're friends with is London Phillips, and they live 14 minutes from us here, and I'm I want to try to get a scene where it talks a little history from another, young person, not some preachy, America has a history here. You're oh, okay. But if you had it this nerdy type of kid who this is what it's about, and stuff, and just try to give this quick, cute history lesson with good dialogue, And so I was so proud of her because I gave her all these articulate words. And I was just I hope she's going to be good. Because she's really she's the quieter one of the family. And so she nailed it, She was what they call blurred, black nerd and stuff. And it's just she was all these big words and it just flowed, And then here's Anya going, such big words, And she's okay, I get it, But it was great because I wanted to get that little Urkel-ish, kind of thing. But at the same time, give a history lesson strategically without being preachy. And so, this whole way of explaining, hey, we got it good, at least for right now. We got it good, without it being some, preachy narrative type of thing, but an entertaining action type of way. And that's how it grew from that to what it is. So.
Yeah, let's talk about the actor who played Dimitri. Yeah, he nailed that role.
Dimitri is perfect, though. He is demented.
He was
Dimitri, so the actor Dimitri, Francesco Pozzo, he is at 60-something years old, but he holds an 8th degree black belt. Just got his 8th degree black belt a month or two ago.
He nailed that role to the T. He reminded me of a legit mob guy from Chicago with the little Robert De Niro finesse about him.
Get the fedora hat and everything, and then add a Russian accent, and you don't mess with him at all. It's just I gave him. He had a beard at first when I. So I auditioned 5 or 6 different Dimitris, right? I am telling you what. When Francesco auditioned for this, I stopped it halfway. I'm Ari, come here now. Check this out. I rewound, and I played for, I think, my wife. I forgot if she was doing something at the moment, but I know I just called Ari because I'm look, you got to see this dude. And we played his audition. I'm it's done. What else?
After we're done playing the audition, I looked at him and I was cast him.
Cast him.
Please cast him.
Cast him. And so I tell you what, Francesco Pozzo is the most sweetest. He's a pastor in Philadelphia, by the way.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, He is a pastor, an evangelistic pastor. He is the sweetest guy you've ever met. Him and his wife are amazing. But I'm telling you, he is the perfect bad guy. And he helped with my vision and his just walking right into that vision, putting on the fedora, the trench coat, and the silhouette. All you need now is like the Nike symbol. You know it's Nike. The silhouette of the trench coat and the fedora. And if you know is the best you've ever seen, it's Dimitri. And it's just
I really want to give props to him for really caring so much about his character and understanding him, because there are certain actors who, you know, it's the norm to just show up, be there, memorize your lines, and do your job, and that's that. But there are some people who go above and beyond. There are some people who go 9 miles and more, and they care about these characters, and they do their own, you know, their own storyline. And Francesco was one of those people. He pulled me aside one day, and he started telling me about this backstory he came up with for Dimitri, and this kind of like movie that it was inspired by, and that he wanted, you know, him as a kid, and some of the trauma that he'd been through, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, here is a person who understands his character. He understands how he got to be the way that he is. He understands why he acts the way that he acts, and why he does what he does. And that makes the character all the more realistic and all the more natural when you're playing him. So
yeah, we were watching Rocky Balboa, you know, and because we were just going through the Rocky Creed thing, and I forgot. I actually forgot. We were Rocky was in his restaurant, you know, Adrian's. Yeah. And then there was a whole family there, and then there was this one guy who had a camera and he was talking to Rocky, and I'm like, both me and Ari at the same time, like, that looks like Francesco, like if he was younger. And I'm like, wait a minute. He said he was on Rocky, and that turned out that's him. You know, that's Francesco Potro when he was younger.
Shut up.
Yeah. Wow. So I was like,
literally.
Oh, God, I forgot he was on Rocky. So yeah, he is a fantastic actor, fantastic character ethics. And just a pleasure to work with. You know, he is very, very willing. He is experienced. He is seasoned, but he is open and willing. He's not a diva. He's like, sure, you tell me what you want, and I will do my best to make that happen. So that's the type of people I love to work with, you know.
Now, let's talk about the cliffhanger ending. I know there's going to be a part 2. When you left it like that, I'm not going to spoil it for him, but where Anya, you know, walked into, and then you saw Luke and another person, and you've got me so invested towards that ending right there. I was watching my screen, I was yelling, going, no, I want to see more, man. This was getting intense. I was ready to see like some kind of like a war or something, you know, where they're at. And I was like, come on, just give me a little taste before you make it into a cliffhanger. And then when you left it there, I was like, damn.
So a couple of reasons. Number one, it was a budgetary.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make this full circle. I wanted to make this with a budget. I originally when I made it into a full feature-ish, I wanted to go full circle and basically where the hunter becomes the hunted now.
Yes. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, and Anya, you know, the one who came to be, the activated sleeper agent, now is the one who's being chased and hunted. So I wanted to have all that in there, have the budget for some car chase scenes and all that kind of stuff. And so between that and the time when we actually put all the scenes together, I was like, whoa, dude, we're already like almost there pretty much at the point of it being a full feature. So, I mean, unless it's a, Lord of the Rings type of situation, that's not going to happen. It can't be that long. So the only obvious way and strategic way we can get some investors on this thing to make it happen in the proper way financially now is to make it to where there's got to be a part 2. Anya will return, kind of thing.
Oh, so. Dude, that ending was just like, that cliffhanger was so priceless, it's just like me, because I'm a big comic book nerd, and there's like certain issues where you're getting invested in, and they live that cliffhanger, and then after cliffhanger, there's like a black box, and that's it, and you're like, damn, I gotta wait till next month to see what happened, and they're not showing it. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, I thought that was like a perfect place to do that, especially with the martial arts scene.
Yes,
which
beautiful.
Really, actually, it's one of my favorite. Everybody was just like stellar on it. Even the owner, who's it's a Krav Maga, place, and the owner, her, and she's not an actress, but she did an amazing job. And she's, literally the trainer there, and all the kids minus like a couple, were actually kids that were on board the project and, that trained there. So it was just amazing. Plus I got to go on the back of a motorcycle with the camera over the shoulder, and all that.
Still jealous about that, man.
I know. One day, baby. One day. next time, baby. Next time. So that was fun. That was awesome. Just to get the over the shoulder shot of the motorcycle, and then we had my DP on that scene in the back of our car going like this, showing the motorcycle kind of. So you get both, both shots, and then it was actually like almost last moment when I thought about Boris and Sasha. Because I'm like, okay, they were activated to find Anya. And then now I don't know if you saw this. Tell me if you saw this. I'm just curious as a watcher. Did you know that when she went through the crowd, that she went right in between Boris and Sasha?
Yeah, I noticed. I did really notice that, and I played it back several times to figure out what you were going with. I know.
When she says, excuse me.
Yeah.
That was Boris and Sasha right there. But she had no idea because she's.
Yeah, I caught that. Yeah, I caught that. I like how you put that little teaser in there, because I've watched so much film, so I can pick that up. And right before you were going to say that, I was going to get ready to say that next. I caught that, and I was wondering, it's like, hey, see if anybody can pick this. I picked that up, but
yeah. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. I don't know. I'm going to see how many people actually see that, because you don't know. There's no way anybody can know it's them from behind.
Yeah.
Until it pans around.
Yeah.
And you see them standing. So if you're not paying attention, you're not going to know it's them, that it's Boris and Sasha standing there. You're just going to think there's some kids there.
Yeah.
But if you do see, and you're a film buff or whatever, and you look at everything.
I do.
Easter eggs here and there, you're going to see, wait a minute. Is that Boris?
Yeah, like I said, I had to rewind it twice because I picked that up and I was like, no. So I went back the second time, I quite didn't catch it, and then the third time I was like, oh, yep, I was right.
Yeah, right. And John, of course, was there helping on that scene.
Oh my!
He was doing boom operating, mic and boom operating. So he's been so instrumental in this whole project. So I wanted to make sure he gets props.
Oh, John, you do get props. I mean, like what you're talking about. You did make that choreography look pretty good. I mean, kudos. I mean, because like you said, sometimes you got to make it like realistic. Because I've seen some, indie films where they try to do that, but they don't put into 100%, and you just know they either like half-mast that certain shot, and you can tell it's like he didn't go in far enough to make, like, how like you're getting ready to punch somebody where you really go in and where it makes it, and then you see some it's like, nah, he didn't connect.
One of the worst ones I've seen is on the old 1990s Granada Sherlock Holmes show, and as much as I love a lot about it, there's this one scene where the dude is trying to punch him, and he goes way too early, and I'm just like, why? This was going to be a good fight scene.
All right, one last sorry, Mike. One last question for Jonathan. When you were like, what was that fight scene you let Mike watch? What he mentioned earlier. What was that scene he was watching?
It was from another project that I was involved in. Not really sure if I can fully talk about that.
Can you a little without spoiling? A little teeny bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like remember American Gladiators?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a martial arts American Gladiator.
Ooh.
So the concept and everything, like they it's a lot of people involved, and yeah, and actually, if I remember right, there were more than 5 people there that were qualified to be choreographers.
No kidding.
But they were doing other parts in the project. And the one choreographer, I remember. I actually got to do one of the first choreographed fight scenes for the project.
Nice.
And from I remember he was telling me what he wanted done, and I'm like, I'm going over the moves. So I was like this, almost the same way I did with Ari and the other actors and actresses from Sleepers. But anywho, after that, I mean, granted, there was a lot of people involved, so I don't know what happened with the actual choreography. It almost seemed like, here's the idea, you guys go work something out and then bring it back to me and we'll see what happens. So it didn't seem like they actually went through start to finish what you're supposed to do, how it's supposed to look, and how it's supposed to end up. And I feel like personally, they were kind of like, we're just gonna go for it. Whatever happens, happens. I guess it's the whole budget thing. I don't know too much about all that. How much time they had, how much money was allotted. I know it was a lot more than what Mike had.
Oh,
a lot more.
Hey, I was just curious. I had to ask. Like Leonardo DiCaprio's character, from the Tarantino Western. It's like, I had a little curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say. And I've talked to, I got to work with some world-renowned martial artists who were also a part of the project. A couple of guys who worked with Jason Statham, Michael Jai White, some other world-renowned martial artists. And, we all talked about what we thought about, the whole production, the fight scenes, we broke down parts, what was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? And it's like anything, it's a work in progress, especially when you're working with so many different people. If you don't have your own team, you don't know what they're going to do, what they're not going to do, if they're going to be, like Mike and I was talking about earlier about people who are able to work with you, and from what I gathered from just working with people in general, you're going to get that. You're going to get the people who say, well, I don't want to do that. Or, okay, I'll do it. Or I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. And they really don't. You know what I'm saying? So I think that played a part in those fight scenes. You had people who were kind of egotistical, like, I know what I'm doing. I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah.
Versus the person actually who could choreograph it, or the person who's fully in charge of doing everything.
I was going to say something off of that, just so, the audience would understand that even as a director, and this is something whether you're a first-time director or a 10-time director, but it's important that even if the choreography is not going as planned, as a director, you should be able to, and this is what I have to force myself to do, because and John we had to. It's normal. If it's not working, you have to be able to see that and stop it and not ad lib. You have to be not spontaneous. What's the right word? Like on the fly, you have to change things up,
right,
and make it different if it's not working, and not just go for it and keep it and say, oh well, that's all we can do. That's all we got a budget for. So I don't know that project in particular, but any project, even our own projects, it's imperative that you have somebody who has an eye or two eyes on it to make sure that the fight choreography, and sometimes the fight choreography can be good if it were in real life, but if you don't catch it with the right angle, it's still not going to look good on camera.
Right.
So it's got to be a collaborative effort,
Yeah, in response to what Jonathan was saying about the people who were very egotistical and claimed that they knew what they were doing and everything, I mean, that is another really important part to any actor, any director, anybody who is wanting to get involved in the film industry. No divas allowed. That's what my dad always does. What's that?
No, I'm saying that's what you guys say, the divas. That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Exactly. It makes the production take so much longer and be so much harder and so much more difficult when it doesn't have to be. It does not. And one of the most important things when it comes to filming is that everything is as efficient and quick and easy as possible, so we can get all the shots done that we need to do, to get all the scenes done that we need to do, and any extra drama or anything is always going to prolong that process. So just as an actor, from an actor to another actor, if you're watching or listening to this and you are an actor, really pay attention to what the director is telling you, the choreographer, if it's stunt or fighting, whatever it is, whoever is above you and giving you advice and saying, do this, do that. Listen to what they have to tell you. There's a reason why they're telling you that, and it's not because they're challenging your authority. I'm sure you know what you know, but seriously listen, because it helps the entire process and it helps them to think better of you.
I think
so. Just something that's really important that I've been learning along the way, that both Bill Eisler and John Green have been, putting into place. It's very, very important to sell the punch or to be on the recipient end. So even if you don't punch like 100% the right way, if you as an actor or actress, if you make it look like you received it the right way, that's what's going to sell. So even if somebody's like, but if you go,
yeah,
and you do it right and you receive it right, it's like it's more on the receiving end than it is on the hitting end when it comes to on film. And so, kudos to everyone, even Emma. She, like John said, like Emma, which is Sasha, she's supposed to, in real life, not show emotion and not react to whatever. And so I remember, certain people, I push them a little extra because it's not their first thing or whatever. And so I remember when Ari did the elbow thing, we had to make sure Emma literally got her head back a number of times, kind of thing, So,
all right.
So
one last question for Arianna, because I mean, she's a cool girl, a cool, talented, young artist and stuff like that. And I told this to Mike. She's like the daughter I never had, but that's a different story. But I'm going to ask you something, because I know you have a twisted mind too. So, okay, I'm going to ask you this. Have you... I know she does. And you should know, Mike, you're her dad.
Most assuredly.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting.
Yeah, okay. Have you ever thought, I can see you doing this, have you ever thought about doing a indie horror film script?
Like, as in, what are you even doing? Because I am also a script editor and many of the things.
I'm talking about, I can
see you
writing a indie horror film and having your dad, producing and directing it, I could so picture you doing a twisted, messed up horror film.
So,
Go ahead. What?
no, you can go off the Lovecraft Fringe.
Yeah, no, really. I always have my antennae up for any opportunity to do some kind of cool twisted horror thing. Yes, 100%. And so we're big fans of a wonderful, marvelous, amazing TV show called Fringe by J.J. Abrams, and all three of us are big, huge fans of it. And we're always on the lookout for coming up with something that is similar. I've been recently consuming a lot of the works of H.P. Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos, and the way that a lot of the two of them kind of combine in this sort of sci-fi, and then there's monsters from other dimensions and all these sorts of things kind of coming into play. Yeah, I've always been interested in seeing something like that, and I know a couple of people who have a couple of ideas like that. And yes, I'm always thinking about stuff like that. So definitely don't put it past us.
And if you guys do, you got to have Jonathan in the film. You got to make him the villain. The villain.
I don't know about the villain, but I'd love to have him coordinate some fights.
Well, he can do that, but you can have him be a villain too. He can be like a badass villain. Come on, you can have him doing the fight scenes. I can see him.
You gotta think him.
He's considering it.
I can see him. He could pull it off in a horror film. He can.
Yeah.
I think
What's that?
I think I could. I'm with it.
I know you can.
I'm with it.
Stop! You're giving me ideas.
John, yes, do this. Write it like how you're saying. Put your dad in it, but bring Jonathan in. As like the main antagonist or whatever. I mean, he could still do help you with the fight scenes, or he could do some crazy messed up, gory, bloody, sci-fi-ish type of kills.
We love special effects. I mean, one of my favorite parts in Sleepers was when Nadia fell, on the ground.
Yeah.
And you see her pick the pieces of the glass. And she did an amazing job.
She did. And that one scene that reminded me of a horror film, too, in Sleepers was where she was walking in that dark corridor and she had that cold as ice look face like she was possessed by a demon or something. And it was like, if I see you're in my way, I'm going to kill you. Not even feeling remorse. A lot of people say that their favorite horror moment was when Ari twitched that little smile. Oh, yes.
When Yulia is like, no, she's like, Anya?
Yeah.
Nadia?
With the little doll. And when she had that,
she didn't even answer. She's like,
yeah, with that little doll, I was hoping Anya was gonna grab that little girl and just lift her up with one arm, choking her, and then just smashing that baby, and then smashing that baby doll and be like, yeah, you know who owns this place.
Fun fact for those of you who are listening to this podcast or watching or whatever, this is a secret special knowledge. The name of the doll is officially Bethany McScary. It is dubbed Bethany McScary by the actress who plays Yulia. Amazing actress, by the way. Amazing person and amazing family. But yes, her name is Ellie Mae Louise Smith. But yeah, the name is Bethany McScary.
I like that. That was a cool little fun fact. So, Mike and Aria and Jonathan, where can everybody follow you guys with Crystal Fox Films and your next projects, and where they can find you on social media so they can follow you? And you as well, Jonathan. I'm curious to see what other stuff you're doing as well.
So, yeah.
No, you go.
Obviously you can check out sleepersthemovie.com for the Sleepers info and details. On all social media, Sleepers the Movie, and myself, official Mike Fox on Instagram and Facebook, and I think TikTok as well. And then Crystal Fox Films on Instagram and Facebook, and X Twitter. And then we will be, just a shout out, we are about to sign on, and I'll go ahead and say the name because I don't think there's going to be any deviation between now and a few days from now. But we are very, very excited, very, very thankful, and honored to sign on with Boathouse Pictures, and they will be our distributors for Sleepers. And these guys are amazing. I wanted to kind of have it for the red carpet premiere, but we didn't have it in play yet. But props to my producer Jesus, who's been the question machine through it all, and she is very meticulous on everything, and she's been extremely helpful and reliable. And we finally made the decision to go with Boathouse Pictures. These guys are an amazing group team, and so we'll be shouting that out when it's all signed and official, but I just want to give that shout out. Jonathan, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok under Defmas, Defmas. Some people try to look me up and they I don't know, they type in Defmas. There's no A, it's Defmas. That's it. You type that in.
What does that stand for?
What does
I know what it stands for.
What does Defmas stand for? I want to hear this before you get off. What does Defmas stand for?
Okay, so all right. So back in my competition days, I was I want to say a green belt in Taekwondo. I was cocky. I was winning a lot of tournaments, and I was the main person at the time frame representing Delaware, outside of Delaware. So like New York, Maryland, down South Georgia, I represented Delaware. Everywhere I went, I was the Delaware representative in martial arts. So during that time frame, people in Delaware, whether if you were like an artist or a musician or something, you were Delaware's finest. Okay? So I took that and I said Delaware finest martial arts specimen.
Oh,
So
I like that.
that's what Defmas stands for. It's an acronym for that, because everybody was Delaware's finest something, and I'm like, well, I'm representing martial arts, so. And funny story is, I actually had people challenge me for my name.
Shut the front door.
So that solidified that it's mine.
I like that.
You held the title. You held on to the title.
Yeah, so it's mine. They challenged me and they didn't get it, so it's mine. I'm Defmas. That's it.
That's right. And where can they find you, Miss?
I've never forgotten that. Ever since he told me, I've always remembered what it stood for.
I'll remember it too. And I'm not from Delaware, but okay. But when I go to Delaware, if I ever do, and across that state line, I'm going to shout your name when I'm in Delaware. I'm going to say, Defmas! Delaware!
Everybody will know who you're talking about.
Now, Ari, where can they find you on social media? You're doing everything, man. You're just a busy girl.
Yes.
Yeah, very busy indeed. Yes, so same places they mentioned: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, even TikTok. And yeah, like really all social media as either Arianna Fox, ARIANNAFOX, or A Fox Author, because I'm an author, so it's a Fox who's an author, AFOXAUTHOR. And you can, yes, boxing. You can find my site at ariannafox.com, ARIANNAFOX.com, same thing. And also, quick little thing here, I do have a Udemy course. You might be able to see that behind me. I have a cool Superman foam insulation, and I'm in a studio, and it's because I do voiceover work, and I actually have a Udemy course that is called Voiceover Acting and Training, and it teaches people how to become voiceover artists. If you're learning how, if you're already a voiceover actor, but you still want, a little bit more tips, really for anybody, any age range, there's something there for everybody. There's even stuff there for musicians. There's stuff there for other people who are in similar lines of work, or who are regular cinema actors but want to take a step behind the scenes and become a voice actor. Just stuff for everybody. So it's on Udemy right now. We're trying to get it to 100 students. We're at like 92 right now. So feel free to check that out.
All right, one question, since I know you do a lot of voice acting, do a voice, come up with an original voice that you're like a up-and-coming podcaster real quick.
What's that? So do a voice that do a podcaster voice?
Yeah, and you're like an upcoming podcaster starting off for the first time.
Hey there, everybody. It's Arianna Fox, and today we have a wonderful podcast for you guys today. We have so many subscribers. It's 3 subscribers more than last time, but we are really excited to get part of this, and I don't know what I'm going to be talking about because I'm just kind of really talking about nothing, but I have the voice. So thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
All right, hey, that works for me. And everybody have a great evening. Thank you for listening to Horror Pop After Midnight.